Hello, I'm Kevin Ochsner. Welcome to a special live edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Tonight, we're celebrating 500 episodes of this television program, a program founded back in 2007 on the idea of providing news, information, and education specifically for cattlemen and cattlewomen. It's been my pleasure to be a part of the Cattlemen to Cattlemen team, and I want to thank you for watching as we celebrate 500 episodes. Now, as I mentioned, we're live from Washington, D.C., a place where so much happens that can impact the U.S. beef cattle industry. We have a lot of ground to cover tonight on a wide range of policy issues, including what we might expect from the Trump administration. So let's get started. Joining me now is Senator Steve Daines, a Republican from Montana. Senator, thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight.
So glad to be here tonight, Kevin. Thank you.
You know, we know that you have been such a strong supporter of opening the Chinese market to U.S. beef. What can we do to make certain that's a priority for the new administration?
Well, Kevin, I'm a fifth-generation Montanan. In fact, I just spent the last few days in eastern Montana with a cattleman on his Angus ranch there hunting mule deer together. So I heard a lot about cows over the last few days, a lot about the prices, certainly, but also about the opportunities. I was over in China the last week of May and met with the Chinese leadership, and we were asking them to remove that ban on U.S. beef imports. And we were grateful to hear in September that they're signaling they're planning to move forward now with removing that ban. That's the second largest import market in the world for beef. So it's so important for us. We think about it, there's about 95% of the world's consumers are outside the United States. We're about 5%. So as we think about our kids, our grandkids, how are we going to grow our herds? How are we going to keep prices up? It's going to be by exporting. So we're sending a strong message. I'm campaigning loudly right now with the new administration to make sure we understand that this is the right thing to do for our U.S. producers and to make sure that we don't lose any ground on this ground that we have gained right now with opening these markets up in China.
That's great news. And I guess the question becomes, why is trade so important, not only for Montana cattle producers, but for producers all across the country?
Well, it is. And again, I'm from a state, Montana, where our number one industry is agriculture. It's about $6 billion a year in Montana. We have 3 cows for every person in Montana. But if it were not for our export markets, we would not have the production levels that we have today in Montana and around the country. And so as we think, again, about the future, I think about Wayne Gretzky. They asked him, why are you a great hockey player? And he said, it's because I skate to where the puck is headed, not where it's at. So we got to think about where are the markets growing in the future here for our U.S. producers? Well, it's international markets. It's markets like China. And if we don't have access to those Asian markets, how are we going to keep our prices up? How are we going to keep growing our production?
And I guess the question becomes, many of us were a bit disappointed when we heard that Congress had decided not to take up TPP in this lame duck session. Given President-elect Trump's opposition to the Trans-Pacific Partnership, what's your sense on what we can do to encourage the Trump administration to move forward with this?
Well, there's everybody seems to have something they don't like right now about TPP, but that's all part of negotiating a trade deal. So we've got to smooth off some of the rough edges. But I tell you, the folks who will gain the most from TPP is the ag industry. And we've got to keep that in the front of the minds of the new leadership coming to Washington with the Trump administration. I supported Donald Trump. I am thankful that we are not talking about President-elect Hillary Clinton. Grateful for what happened a week ago tonight. And now we have to continue to educate and make sure the new administration understands exactly how you connect the dots from trade policies to the pocketbook issues right now of American ag producers.
So another issue on the minds of, I know, a lot of your constituents is the resource management plans, and specifically the greater sage grouse. What's your position on that, and what kind of resolutions might be at store?
Boy, you know, I hear about sage grouse, particularly in our eastern part of Montana and western states. You know, it goes back to the Endangered Species Act. In fact, we had one rancher say the Endangered Species Act is like a 40-year-old ranch pickup. It once served a useful purpose, but it's in bad need of repair. And I think when we chat, again, I spent a lot of time just this past weekend with a great Montana ranch operation. They have both registered and commercial Angus, and ranchers are the lead conservationists in this nation. They know if they don't conserve the lands, the wildlife, they won't have something to pass on in the future for their kids. The problem we have with sage grouse is I think this is really about a command and control structure from the extreme environmentalists. It's not really about the sage grouse. It's about taking over a way of life here. And it really would have a significant impact on our way of life, certainly. So we've been pushing back, been working very, very hard with the Obama administration, telling them that we do not want to see the sage grouse listed as endangered species, because that would really be, it is a direct threat to a way of life in places like Montana.
Totally agree. It's so nice for you to come join us for this 500th episode, and more importantly, it's really encouraging to have folks like yourself up here who understand our business. Thanks for coming.
Well, I'm very glad to be here, and I feel a lot better if it's in a Carhartt jacket instead of a suit and tie, but you got to wear the uniform when you're back in D.C.
We'll get that the next time.
All righty.
Thank you.